Welcome, everybody. We're super excited to have our meeting tonight for next year's companies. I can't believe we're already at this point. I feel like we were just doing this for last year. I'm going to turn the time over to Mindy, who's going to kick us off.
All right, welcome, TCA. I'm looking at names and seeing some new names, some only first names, so it's hard for me to tell entirely, but my guess is we have some potentially new parents here. So welcome. I'm just going to give a brief overview. My name is Mindy Robbins, and I'm one of the owners and artistic directors of Utah COPA. And I think we have somebody not on mute. If you don't mind just checking to make sure everybody's on mute, that would be awesome. Katie Higby is here, and she is our MDT Academy Director for our American Fork location and oversees our other locations. And Brittany Terry is here, and she is our MDT Academy Director for our TUACAHN and Washington locations. So I'll give you just a little bit of a history of COPA. It actually started in a way on the TUACAHN stage. So I've had the privilege of being in a number of seasons at TUACAHN, I think 7 now over the course of like 22 years. And in 2002, I was in Annie Get Your Gun, and Nathan and Susie Balser were playing Tommy and Winnie. And I had just married Connor Robbins. We were 6 months into our marriage, and the four of us became kind of best friends. And on the stage and hanging out after the shows, we were dreaming of running like a studio, performing arts studio together one day. So blink and fast forward 22 years, we now have 4 locations. So we'll talk about that tonight quite a bit, but 4 locations in the state of Utah, currently about 750 students. And we have something like 85 teachers. And it is awesome. We love what we do. COPA started actually in my basement as Robbins Music Theater Academy. And it started because I was teaching private voice, and I ended up with a wait list of like, I remember the number of 64 people on my wait list. And I thought, hey, I have 2 young kids, and maybe I could teach group classes like what I did at BYU, where I got a degree in music, dance, theater. And the first year we took group classes. And I thought, what if I did group classes and I combined like 10 kids in a class, and I could teach these kids on my wait list and end up teaching less hours. And it ended up kind of being the birth of what is now COPA. It became at one point on Broadway Academy when Balsers joined us. I kind of started things off for the first couple of years, and then it got too big that I begged my husband to help me, and he did all the finances and things like that. And then we moved out 1 year into a location and rented, and then we ended up moving to our mothership that's in American Fork. And we say that just because that was the first official COPA, and is still our largest COPA. And so anyway, it was it's been a long and awesome almost 16-year journey now. And we're super privileged to be able to do what we love with people that we love and be able to teach students. And so we often refer to this as the COPA family, and it feels like a family, and it's awesome that way. So Katie and I met performing in a performing group, kind of like COPA, but different. I was 10 and Katie was 14, and I idolized her. And who knew that all those years, like 10 years later, I'm just kidding, it's been more years than that, that we'd be working together. And she is awesome in every way. My right hand, my left hand, a good portion of my heart. And I'm super, super grateful. And I'm telling you right now, the COPA kids are lucky to work with her. And so is our amazing Brittany Terry. Katie's been overseeing and training her. And I know Brittany would be able to say that she's learned so much from Katie. I learned from Katie all the time. In fact, my husband and I and Katie were in the car the other day, and I was like, if my husband and I are arguing about something, he's usually right, to be honest. But if Katie and I are disagreeing about something, she's always right. So I just I'm like, you know what, I'm sure you remember it better because she's on top of things. So we're lucky to have her. And Brittany Terry will be stepping into this full position as Academy Director. There she is. Beautiful Brittany. And Brittany comes from a great background of musical theater as well. She actually owned her own studio in Manti. Yes, in Manti, and is incredibly talented as a vocalist and a dancer. She's been teaching dance forever and has performed in a lot of musicals. And she's been an OG original COPA director for us. And this is going into our 5th year now. And this partnership with TUACAHN has been incredible. We'll talk about that soon. But Brittany is organized and on top of things. She's kind and efficient, and we're super lucky to have her. She will be overseeing both programs. So we are opening a 4th location in Washington. It's in the location that was not originally. It's in Cottontown Village. So Brigham's Playhouse, many of you might recognize, or Broadway Bound has been running their classes and musicals, and they will continue to run their musicals upstairs on the stage, and we will be leasing the basement studios. We just have heard so often that people would love to come to COPA, but TUACAHN Ivins is too far for them, that they live in Washington and it's too big of a drive. So we're hoping that opening this new studio will be able to open the doors to more people being able to train with us. So we're excited about that. I'm thinking, I'm wondering if we have any other teachers on here, but we have amazing teachers. Mimi Nell was and is an original director for us as well, and she's returning and directing some of our companies. And then Erica Bryce will be teaching continually in our TUACAHN location. We have amazing faculty teaching in both locations. A lot of our faculty, Brittany's going to be directing companies in both locations. Mimi's directing companies in both locations. A lot of our class teachers are teaching in both locations. And then we have a few new people that are joining us as well, which is awesome. So you can trust us. We've been hiring and doing this for a long time, and we are really thoughtful about who we hire and why we hire them and training. And it will be a growth to an already awesome faculty. So just in regard to what is COPA, if any of you are new, and obviously you probably know the basics, but Conservatory of Performing Arts. And we have a lot of different programs up north, but in TUACAHN, we are running our musical theater program. And so if you have a student who loves musicals and you can't keep them from singing or playing every Broadway musical on Alexa multiple times, if they know every word to Hamilton, or if they beg you to be able to take tap or jazz, or they want to be auditioning for TUACAHN or SGMT or Broadway Bound, then you're at the right place. We specialize in training students ages 3 to 18 in musical theater. And we have a lot of goals, but I'll be honest, our number one goal is confidence. And ultimately, we believe, and I can tell you, you guys, I've been teaching this year, marks my 25th year of teaching. That is a quarter of a century. Can you believe that? I know you're all thinking to yourself, she doesn't look that old. Okay, I know you're not thinking that, and that's fair. I am 44, but I did start teaching when I was in college at 19. So this is a quarter of a century of doing this. And I can tell you after a quarter of a century that when people, children specifically, but it's not just children, when people spend time developing their talents and expanding their knowledge, they become more confident human beings. And more confident human beings contribute to our society. They contribute to our world. They're happier often. They hold their head up a little bit higher. They make better friends. They date better people. They interview better for future jobs. And so these things, and it's not like musical theater is the key. Any talent development, develop your talents, period. But if you're here, probably because you have a child who's passionate about singing or acting or dance or all three. And so if that's the case, I have said this and I'll say it again. And Mimi, I see you. I'm so glad you're here. You missed my introduction of you, but we love you and are so grateful as an OG director that you are returning, and you've got both of you, Brittany and Mimi. Sorry about that dinging. I tried to do not disturb, and my computer, it's a lot like my children. It doesn't listen to me. I say do not disturb for an hour and it just keeps dinging. Anyway, Brittany and Mimi have darling children who are in our program and have been with us from the beginning. And it's so fun to watch and I see like Amanda spend love and Sage. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Sage a year one? Will this be her 5th year, Amanda? You may not be prepared to speak, but
it's actually we're actually going into our 6th year.
Are you serious?
And Sage was with us. Yeah, because we did Disney and then we're back to, we just did Disney again. We started with
No, we never did Disney. That wasn't our first year. Our first year was
our first year was Disney. It was Aladdin and Frozen.
oh, I guess it was.
It was.
And Sage was there. Sage was there.
But wouldn't that mean that we've done, oh, I guess because
We
we've
started with Disney and
Yeah.
we did everything in between.
Okay, again, this has just proven the point.
And I remember
All
Sage.
right.
Sage
Just don't
right after
argue.
me. So I know Sage was there because she was awesome in that Frozen medley. And I was
Yeah,
really proud of her.
Darling. And I'm seeing if we have any other OGs. I see Aubrey on here, and we've had Issa for a long time. And I don't see all last names, and so it's hard for me to call out, but we have a lot of students who have been with us from the beginning, and it is so awesome. Hi, Aubrey, to see how many years has Issa been with us? 3? It's awesome. Yeah,
I think this was her 3rd year.
yeah, it's so great. It's just a privilege and an honor to watch these kids grow in their confidence and their talent development. And I'm just going to tell you right now, it works. The training works. And so if that's what you're interested in, I can tell you this is a really spectacular program with really great curricula and amazing directors and teachers at the head of it. And we just saw TUACAHN concerts. They happened on Friday, the concert, and it was awesome. It was Disney. And again, just through the roof. And of course, like castles and snakes and umbrellas and all of the things that just blow the roof. Is that what you say? Blow the roof off the house? Anyway, it was really incredible. So this is a great program. We're excited about it opening in Washington, and I'll turn the time back over to you, Katie/Brittany.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to share basically the ins and outs of the program and kind of introduce the program to you. There is a chat, and I'm going to ask Mindy and Brittany to kind of monitor it while I'm talking, and they can answer your questions through that. Let me get to where I need to be, and I'll share my screen. This is going to be a little tricky because I'm going to try to do 2 locations side by side, and I haven't tried that yet. So let me see how it goes. So to find this information, you will go to the Utah COPA website, and I'm going to hide my video controls. Okay, so you go to utahcopa.com and you're going to choose companies and musical theater company, and that will take you to this page. And you're going to choose TUACAHN and or Washington. And I wanted to try to do them side by side. Let's see if this works. It doesn't work. So I'm going to stop sharing and reshare. So give me 2 seconds. Okay. Share screen. I'm just going to share my whole desktop, which means you're all going to see yourselves for a second. There you are. Okay. All right. So we have the Washington. Okay. I have TUACAHN on the right and Washington on the left. And we're going to try to scroll through these. Most of the information is the same at each location. So hopefully this will be pretty easy. Again, Washington, we won't be able to see the top. So remember that Washington's on the left. TUACAHN's on the right. So the companies, we are planning to run 3 companies at each location. You'll notice that the youngest company at both locations is Prodigy. We did that because we always want to have a Prodigy. And we sort of, since we're not 100% sure who from TUACAHN is planning to transfer to Washington and how many students we will get at Washington, we are sort of trying to leave it a little bit flexible. So I'll show you the things that are flexible so that you'll know kind of what you're looking at. We for sure want to have a Prodigy. So we're going to wait and see sort of how the ages flush out at each location. And one will probably turn into a Premier if they both run. If they don't both run, then we'll just have one Prodigy. We're hoping all 6 of these companies run. Let me sort of briefly explain kind of how we're developing this. So most of our other locations have 6 or 7 companies each. So our goal here was to just do half at one location and half at another location. Now, the thing that's a little different is, let's say at American Fork, let's pretend that this one. Okay, so this will probably turn, if we have all 6 companies, this will turn into Premier. And in American Fork, it goes Prodigy, Premier, Spire, Moxie, Smash, Principal. Now, so this would go Prodigy, Premier, Spire, Moxie, Smash, Principal, but we're not necessarily considering that order. So each location will have a young, middle, old, young, middle, old. So mentally, you can consider that Prodigy and Premier are the same, just at 2 different locations. Spire, Moxie are the same at 2 different locations. Smash, Principal are the same-ish at 2 different locations. And I'll explain the ish in a minute. And the reason we're doing that is because we want you to have the freedom to go to the location that works best for you. Not like, oh, they're in this grade, I have to go to this location. So we want you to have the freedom and that flexibility to choose your location and still have the same experience. So the names are sort of basically it's a Prodigy, Moxie, Principal experience, just like TUACAHN's been having, but with different names for Washington. If that's not clear, please let me know if you have a question. Okay, so the schedule, let me start with Washington. Is this Washington? Yes, Washington. So they will have a Prodigy, and then a Spire and a Smash. And the reason the Spire times are tiny and have multiple options is because if we don't end up running a Smash company, we will take that time slot. All right, I'm back in it. So Mindy will share in a second, but so the reason the Spire times, there's 2 listed, is because it's currently planned for 6 to 8 o'clock. But if Prodigy does not run, then we will have it run from 4 to 6. Prodigy shows less tuition and fees. Okay, I'm going to talk through the fees.
Hey, Katie, I don't know how you split the screen and showed both windows. Do you want to just
showed my whole computer screen and they were just side by side.
Okay, I'll try.
I wonder if I feel like we should share the sheet in the chat and maybe people can open it unless they're on their phone. This is the one, let's see.
Yeah, I just put TUACAHN's in.
Okay, here's Washington. So if you guys want to open these yourselves and maybe just follow along, I'm just going to go from top to bottom and that might solve our problem. So on the Washington flyer, someone said that the tuition was showing different prices. I'm not seeing that. I see $199 for all 3 companies. And their times are the same. Here's where you're thinking the times are different. On the TUACAHN flyer, it shows 1 time slot for vocal tech, but that's actually two different classes. But on the Moxie, it shows 2 different time slots. But you would only take one of those. So every company is getting 3 hours in that on those Tuesdays or Wednesday, Friday. It's the same amount of hours. It just might be listed weird because in some cases you might have an option of one or the other. Does that answer your question? Oh, great.
Okay, is that working, Katie? Where are
Yeah.
you?
I can see it. So we're still on, so I see Washington's on the right now and TCA's on the left, and just scroll TCA up a little bit. Perfect. So, so for example, for TCA, they would all come to vocal tech from 6:30 to 7:30, but they would split that. They would split in half. For Moxie, they have 2 separate times. They're also split in half, so you would only choose one of those times. So the tuition's exactly the same, no matter what grade you're in, what company you're in, because they all do the same hours of classes. They get an hour of vocal tech acting, 2 hours of company rehearsal, and 3 hours of dance class. The boys,
Katie, can I pitch in something really quick too.
yeah,
The reason why they split for vocal tech too is so that there's only about 10 in each class. So they're getting more time to be coached on their songs and their monologues. So they're all together for their company rehearsal hours. But then they split for that vocal tech. So they have more individualized time.
great. Thank you for adding that. I appreciate it. And then if you scroll down a little bit more on both, you can see the dance schedule. So let me just quickly, if you're like, which company will my kid be in? So we can start planning. Traditionally, Prodigy / Premier is elementary. We start at 4th grade, but we do allow 3rd graders to audition. And if there's a spot, we will try to fit them in. The Moxie Spire age group is typically junior high-ish, and then Principal Smash. Smash will sort of be a little younger. We made our Washington schedule based on the students that were currently at Broadway Bound and kind of what they had in their companies. So Smash will be a little bit younger than Principal, based on just our predictions. And let me just say, we are flexible. With this new location, we have no clue how many we're going to get. We hope so many of you. So
Okay.
if you have your respective sheets open, scroll down past the companies and you'll see MDT dance levels. All of our company members are required to take dance classes. We require jazz, tap, and ballet, even if they're not a super love to dance. It's just so important if they want to do musical theater. Someone's asking to reshare the link. Mindy or Brittany, can one of you reshare, whichever one they need? So we divide those by level though. So the company rehearsal day where they do vocal tech and acting and company rehearsal, they are with their company that they've been assigned. But the dance levels, because we know that a company could have a super strong dancer and someone who's literally never taken a dance class in their life, we will split those kids by what level we think they'll thrive the best in. At TUACAHN, we are offering 3 levels because that's what we've been offering. We have level A, B, and C. At Washington this year, we currently are going to offer an A and B. The B at Washington will be different than the B at TUACAHN, just based on that it's a different set of kids. So it's not that we're not going to be able to train your students to their level. It's just that we're predicting that there will be fewer students at Washington. And so we're offering fewer levels. Now, our hope is there will be tons and tons of students. And if so, we will figure out how to add another level to accommodate that need. But that's why there's only 2 levels. Don't look at it and go, oh, they're only in B. The B will be the highest level for that location and will train to the highest level for that location. And then there's add-on classes. They are offered at a discounted rate. If you were just coming in from the public and wanted to take those classes, they would be $40 per hour. So those are if your student wants some extra dance training. And here's the other awesome thing about this program. We planned it on purpose so that the Washington dance classes are on Mondays and Fridays, and the TUACAHN dance classes are Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Tuesdays and Fridays. So if your student really wanted
Thursdays and Fridays.
thank you, it switched this year.
Yeah.
Thursdays, thank you, on Thursdays. So if your student really wants more training, they could attend dance classes at both locations to be getting jazz 2 or 3 times a week, or in ballet 2 or 3 times a week. So that is an option that's open to you as well. Okay, so I'm going to quickly talk about the financial obligation of COPA. We have sort of 2 categories of how we collect payment. It'll come as one payment on your tuition, but we have tuition and fees, and the tuition covers your time in class, our teacher salaries, the building maintenance and keeping a classroom available to keep the building running. And that's that. The tuition or the fees are hard costs, things that we collect from you that we then have to pay to someone else. Those are fees that you might see at another studio as like a costume fee, a recital fee, things like that. The way we operate for our tuition and fees is on a 12-month contract. And we started that a few years, 7 years ago or so, because parents actually requested it. They didn't like that their tuition was changing every month because there was 5 weeks one month and 2 weeks another month. They really wanted to know what to expect every month. They also didn't like that suddenly a month before the concert, they had super high fees that were, not expected because they forgot, even if they were told they forgot. So what we do is we very carefully, and I promise you, we are so careful about this. We literally count every week and every class to know exactly how much instruction class time they're getting. We add that up and divide it by 12. And that's where we get your monthly tuition. So when you are in a month that maybe has fewer weeks and you're like, why am I paying this much for only 2 weeks of instruction? Remember that you're not. It's been balanced out over the 12 months to make your budgeting easier. Same with fees. We very carefully evaluate every single fee every year. And we look at what we ended up spending. Did it go up? Did it go down? Can we lower this fee? Do we need to raise this fee? Should we completely eliminate this event so that we can lower fees? So your fees, we do the same thing. We evaluate them every year. We add them up and we divide them by 12. So that's where the fees come in. And I'll get to the fees in just a second. I believe they're next. Yeah. So if you're on the flyer and you scroll down past the cute girls in pink, mine's on the right. That's why I say that. There are the fees. So there's a registration fee that's pretty standard for any studio that you are at. It's $39. You'll get that charged one time when you register. The next 3, I'll say TBD, because it sort of depends on if you're returning and already have them, if you outgrew something, if you're brand new and need all of it, if you only need some of it. So these are all TBD, and we don't include them in the hard monthly fees because they are different for everybody. And that's your dance classwear. We do have a dress code for our dance classes because it makes it easier for the teachers to teach and the students to learn. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then there's the COPA bag. And again, that's optional because some kids still have their bags that they've been using for years. And not all kids really need a bag. So, and then the t-shirts. Every student needs a black COPA t-shirt. We wear those to our company rehearsals to have a uniform team feel. And then if you are on a touring group, you need 3 additional shirts that are really bright colors, and those are awesome on tour. They really help us stand out in the classrooms. They make us look really professional. They're unifying, and they also help us spot our kids in a crowd of New York City Times Square. So they're really beneficial, and they can wear them anytime they want through the year also. The fees underneath that are listed by company, those are those fees where I was saying we add them up and divide them up over the 12 months. So this is like costume fees, recital, concert fees, costume fees, some special event fees, things like that are all in there. The music video fee, where we need to pay like a recording studio and a videographer and the time for editing it and costumes for that. So those are those fees divided out by the 12 months to make it comfortable.
Okay. I was going to add to that too. It also includes your 2 weeks of summer camp because you're not paying for those up front. So your week of company camp is included in that fee. It's just spread out. And then your week of your MDT dance camp that you take also is included in that too. So
And you'll notice that some of the fees are different. That's because some kids, some companies have some added fees related to specific tours or events that are part of an elevated, like, because they're an older company experience. Okay, the next thing on each of your flyers are the important dates. When you get cast, this little block will be included in your casting email. I recommend that you write them down in your calendar immediately. These are the dates that are really like the non-negotiable dates. The mandatory, you have to be there dates. There are other dates. When you are cast, there will be a link to a COPA calendar that you can download that has a whole lot of other dates, but they're a little more flexible. It's okay if you miss. It's sort of just for your information. These dates in this list are crucial. You'll choose one dance camp. You can see there's 2 weeks offered. And then the company camp, our first day of classes. And then there's 4 performing opportunities through the year. There's the fall solo showcase and the spring solo showcase, excuse me. Those are where you perform what you've been working on in the vocal tech / acting class. So at the fall solo showcase, they would do a legit vocal solo. And at the spring solo showcase, they will do a belt solo and a monologue. So attendance at that vocal tech and acting class is crucial to be prepared for those 2 performances. The other 2 performances are our winter concert and our spring concert. That is the material that we work on in our company rehearsal. We do 2 medleys each year, and they perform one in the fall, or one in the winter, one in the spring. And there's a mandatory intensive / dress rehearsal connected with each of those. So those are the dates that you really want to have on your calendar as soon as possible. Don't plan a cruise or a wedding or anything, because those are locked in. They're very hard for us to move because we coordinate with the TUACAHN schedule. And we do look at, like, you guys have a lot of events down in that area, like every Ironman and marathon and all those things. So we do pay attention to those dates, and that's how we settle on these dates. And it also lines up with our curriculum that we teach in class, where they have, 12 weeks to work on this and then 12 weeks to work on that. So these dates are really set in stone. I was going to say one more thing with regard to this, but now I can't remember. So the next thing you'll want to be sure to plan on is our tours. We tour with companies that are older. At Washington, we're planning to have a Smash company. Oh, I think we put all the tours on both flyers, no matter what. So Smash and Moxie are, okay. Smash and Moxie are touring to the California MTCA tour. That is an awesome tour because it's just great. So we go to California. It's Musical Theater Competitions of America, and they take workshops. They compete as a group. They compete as individual events, and it's a really phenomenal event. The people that they get to be coached by and that work with them are really top-notch. Broadway, film, television, collegiate. It just is super inspiring. They learn so much. It's just a really packed couple of days. And then we actually, TUACAHN has, TUACAHN surprised us all, not really, because they're amazing, and took first the last 2 years in a row in the nation. So there's like 1,000 kids at these events, and we're just really proud of TUACAHN for that. And we're gonna do it again. Just kidding. I hope they do. But honestly, we don't care about the trophies. It's awesome to be like, wow, we rank, like we're up there and we're doing good stuff. And these kids are doing good stuff. I will say, so last year, meaning like 2 years ago, like Principal took first place with their Hamilton medley. And then this year for our category, COPA was actually a sweep of our category. So TUACAHN took first, and then AF Smash took second, and AF Moxie took third. So it was awesome. We just were COPA, COPA, COPA. It was great. So that tour is amazing. We're planning to take Smash and Moxie. So Smash from Washington and Moxie from TUACAHN. We're going to get this all in. So at Manhattan Concert Productions, we have started it a few years ago, maybe 2013 or 14. And we were invited. We had no clue what it was. It sounded like a cool experience. You learn the music here at home, and then we fly to New York and we do this awesome concert either at Carnegie Hall or Lincoln Center. And it's a Broadway director and Broadway stars. And we were like, that sounds super cool. We'll probably show up and learn the music and go on stage. And it'll be like cool people. But it was actually, when we showed up, every rehearsal, everyone was there. All of the stars. We did Parade the first year, and Jason Robert Brown, who wrote Parade, was literally, so Jason Robert Brown literally was like up there conducting the music and like teaching our students and telling them the dynamics and stuff. And his wife was like playing the piano, and the man who wrote the book was telling the story because it's based on a true story and like sharing the experience and the opportunity, all of the stuff about it. And the stars were literally like in the room rehearsing with him the whole time, just like right in front of him, feet away, like singing their faces and rubbing shoulders and, taking breaks. And it was really phenomenal. So we did it 4 or 5 years. And across those 4 or 5 years, I won't assign people to certain years, but they had the opportunity to work with like Ben Platt, Laura Osnes, Tony Yazbek, Susan Stroman, Lara Benanti, throw out some more names. The guy that played Kevin on 30 Rock, if you watched that show, some Saturday Night Live people. If you've ever seen Stand By Me, that was like a favorite when I was a kid. The kid from that show, the one that's rounder, but just like true stars, film, television, Broadway stars. And they get to put it on their resume as a New York credit, not a Broadway credit, but a New York credit. They can put New York City. I was in Crazy for You with Laura Osnes and Tony Yazbek, directed by Susan Stroman. And that makes people look up and pay attention when you're about to sing in that audition. So it's super fun. This year they're doing, so it's been canceled the last 3 years. It was canceled in 21, 22, and 23. But in 22, we said, if it's canceled in 23, we're going anyway. So we went anyway last year, had a great experience. We created our own workshops, which were phenomenal. 2 full days with casting directors, agents, Broadway stars. They learned, Broadway choreography and music, and had talkbacks and one-on-one workshops. And it was just really awesome. But MCP is back on this year. We are committed to them. We are praying that other programs commit so that it actually happens and doesn't get canceled again. And they're planning to do Children of Eden. So it will be an amazing, phenomenal experience. We're so excited to be back with MCP. And if it gets canceled, we can plan a rockin' New York tour that will be super purposeful for your students.
Sure. It was such a great experience this year.
So then we see the dress code. It's not super complicated. We provide where you can get everything. You don't have to find anything on your own. It will be in your casting email. And then it has your audition dates and a link to the audition. So if you click on that link, maybe I'm going to try sharing my screen again now that we maybe feel safe. Let me do that.
That might be pushing it, but I guess.
Let's see what happens. I am only going to share one of them because it's the same on both. Okay, so at the bottom of your screen, there's a link to this. You'll click on this link. It'll take you to this audition page at our website, and it has all the audition dates. And if you keep scrolling down, you can see MDT auditions on the left, and keep scrolling down. I think these are in alphabetical order. So go down till you find TUACAHN. And you're going to want to click on this link right here, this TUACAHN company audition form, and fill it out in advance before you arrive. Online parent meeting, that's what we're recording right now. This information right here will be replaced with the recording of this meeting. So if you want to rewatch anything or have any questions, or you have a friend that wasn't able to be here, direct them here and they can catch up. Then it has the location of the auditions, some general information, what to wear, what to prepare, all of that kind of stuff. And then it has the schedule, what time you should come for your grade. And this is your grade next year, not this year. So that's all of that. And then if you keep scrolling, it has the Washington information. So you'll fill out the Washington form. It's a separate form. We will put the same meeting here. There's the address, same information about what to prepare, and the schedule for when you should come for your grade. Now, if the date doesn't work for you, if you're like, I want to go to TUACAHN, but I can't go that day, come to Washington and just let us know. I'm here, but I'm auditioning for TUACAHN. Same with the reverse. If you're a Washington student, can't make it. We have kids in American Fork and Draper do that all the time. They just go to the other location and we can still consider you for the location that you are planning to participate in. I'm going to stop sharing again and go back to our agenda. I think that's everything there. I know the chat room was sort of a mess, so maybe just if you have any questions on what we just discussed, feel free to unmute yourself and ask. I will say something I forgot to mention about the financial stuff. We do have scholarship opportunities. So if you're looking at the cost and the fees and you're just like, we can't make it work, we have need-based financial assistance available, and that will come with your casting email. So if your student really loves this and needs to be at COPA, do not let the cost be a deal breaker for you. We can't guarantee that we can, cover all of your tuition, or, just fill out the form. You never know what will happen. We do try to help as many people as we can. And we want kids that want to be at COPA to be able to be at COPA. So sorry, I'm trying to gather myself real quick. Okay. What people always ask how we cast. It's actually pretty simple at TUACAHN. We really do typically stick to those age groups. So if you're in elementary, like I said, you're most likely Prodigy Premier. If you're in junior high, that's 7th, 8th, 9th to us, then you're probably Spire Moxie. And if you're, well, let me rephrase that. At Washington, we anticipate that Spire will be a little bit of an overlap and that Smash will also be just a little bit younger. So, but what we do is we have a lot of people score, and we have a sheet that totals it and averages it. And then once everyone's auditioned, we will sort them by birthday. So they'll be listed oldest to youngest, and then we'll take each grade and sort them by score. And we'll look at like, if there's, a particularly high score, and consider possibly moving that student up. Or if there's a particularly low score, we'll look at why their score is low and see if it's something we can make work in company, or if it's something that we need to say, you're not quite ready and we recommend you take these dance classes and participate in a class to continue training, and come audition again next year. And we will never just not cast anybody. We will always give recommendations for where we feel we can best serve you. As much as we would love to take everyone in company, we also don't want a student to end up in a situation where they're frustrated, because that limits their growth. And so we would rather put them in some classes that will help them grow and prepare better for company, rather than putting them in a situation where they're feeling self-conscious or down on themselves, or like they can't keep up, and then they're frustrated and then they don't love it anymore. And we would never want that to happen. And then once we've cast everybody, we will send a casting email. This casting email is really crucial. Don't just read the first paragraph and go, yay, I'm in principal. Please go through it with a fine-tooth comb. It is a lot of information, and we know that. But we also don't want to send 10 emails. So we put a lot in that initial casting email. And there's some steps that are crucial for you to complete in order to actually be in company. The first is an acceptance form. You'll fill out a Google form. It'll have a lot of questions. a lot of it's like, if there's 2 vocal tech options, which one do you want? Do you want the earlier one or the later one? Do you want add-on dance classes? Because then we can just register you for them. What is your t-shirt size? Things like that. So you fill that out. Once that form is completed, we hold your spot and we'll send you the contract. If you don't fill out the form in time, we will then offer the spot to, like, if there were kids that we couldn't cast like on the wait list, we'll offer those spots. Once we have your contract filled out, we will register you. And you don't have to register for anything. We do all of it for you. We get them in all of the correct classes and camps and all of the things, and then it's done. And we do that before the first camp. So it is crucial that you do all of this really quickly, because the first camp is June 5th. So we got to go fast on it. And yeah, and then we will have another meeting once you're cast. It's on May 22nd. So right after casting goes out. And the reason we do a second meeting, this is kind of the overview. This is what you're signing up for. This is the tuition and fees and schedules, so that you can say, does this work for me? Once you're cast and we have the second parent meeting, that's when we're really going to focus on the contract that you're signing, what our expectation is for attendance, behavior, what we are promising as teachers and a program, and just, you know, what's involved in the contract and all of that stuff. So it is an important meeting to attend. We will record it and send it out if you're not able to be there, but it is important that you watch it and really understand what you are committing to, so that you don't enter into it lightly. I will back up just a little bit, back to the tours. That was when we were kind of figuring all that stuff out, and so I got distracted, but there's no prices listed yet. We will have those very soon, and they will show up on that form within the next few days. Definitely before you audition, and for sure before you commit, you will know what the tour costs. And we break those down into payments that will happen gradually through the year. So there'll be like a July payment and I don't know, September. I don't know how they space them out, but you will know that cost before you commit, and you will know the tour payment schedule will be in the contract. I know they're very close on those prices. We just have to always analyze what happened last year. Where did we overspend? Where did we underspend? What can we adjust? Are we going to do anything differently? And last I heard, the last thing we're waiting for is hotel prices. So we should have those full costs very soon, so that you can plan accordingly. So we are technically finished. I don't have anything else to share. If you have any questions, we can stay on for a few more minutes. You can also email info@utahcopa.com, and they will direct you to the right people. Because we have multiple academies and locations, it is helpful if in your email you say what location you're referring to, so that they can direct you to the correct people. But I just would love to open it up for questions. We can still keep looking at the chat room, but you're also welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question if it's appropriate and doesn't involve naughty drawings.
Gosh, that was crazy. I just answered Michaela. Maybe I'm not reading it right.
Kaylee?
That's
How do you say your name? It's pretty.
Yeah,
It's Mikhail.
Mikhail.
Sorry, can you hear me? Yeah, Mikhail.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So I just answered your question, but it's a good question for everybody. If you're a Broadway bound parent with a student in the program, we're actually holding auditions during their class period for companies. And you can audition and decline a contract after you get cast if that's not something that's going to fit with sorry, I'll turn my video on. It's not something that's going to fit in your family finances or schedule or whatever. So there's no pressure, but it will happen in Washington during the Broadway bound classes. However, you don't have to be a Broadway bound student to attend. So if you want to audition for Washington, you just come at those times. Any other questions? Awesome. Good
Great.
job, Katie. Thanks. And thanks, Brittany. And thanks, parents, for your patience. Sorry about that. I'm reading about how to protect us in future meetings from that. At first,
Oh my
I was
goodness.
laughing because I thought, Katie, your mouse did it.
I
And
know, and it
"Oh my
just
gosh, what
happened.
is-" I'm like, what on earth? And then we realized, no, this is not an accident. So anyway, thanks for your patience with that, you guys. And we're looking forward to this year. It's going to be a spectacular year.
Okay, awesome.
Have a great night.
Thank you all.
Thanks, ladies.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Bye.